Animal Man #2, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Travel Foreman. Okay, this is a big one. So we left off. Animal Man, Buddy Baker, he was having a nightmare about his daughter having all these powers, and there being rot in the red. And then he wakes up and finds out that his daughter Maxine had brought a bunch of dead animals back to life. So we pick up immediately afterwards. She's just playing around with the animals, and Animal Man's like, "You need to put those back right now." Immediately, his son's like, "No, don't put it back. This is badass. I'm gonna get my phone." Animal Man tries to stop him, but like, he starts having the same sort of weird feeling he had back at the hospital last issue, and he starts A, bleeding from the eyes again, but B, now he has this giant chest, like tattoo looking thing that's these red vein like structures going all up and down his arms as well. And Maxine points at it and says, "There, that's where they're from, the red place." So, cut to inside. Cliff's recording all the chaos with the dead animals fighting each other. Maxine's feeding her cat, Mrs. Pickles, who is a literal skeleton, and the milk is just dropping out of the jawbone. They can't seem to figure out what this tattoo thing on his chest is, but Maxine steps forward and is like, "It's a map. We're here, and we have to go to there. That's the old tree, and the old tree will take us to there, the red place. And we have to get there before they do, or everything will die." So, not ominous. Animal Man slightly earlier told Cliff to go fix all the graves, the little animal graves that may have been upturned as a result of Maxine's little power bat there. And immediately they hear yelling from Cliff. One of the neighbors caught him digging up their lawn, trying to fix the graves. And he's just an overall dick. But Maxine, because he wouldn't take his hands off of Cliff, turns his arm into a chicken leg, like the full-on, like just orange, scaly with like talons. And Mom goes over to Maxine's like, "Maxine, you gotta fix that. You gotta give him back a human hand, okay?" And Maxine's like, "Fine, I guess." And she does it, and he runs off screaming. And basically they're like, okay, Maxine seems to have some idea what's going on. She's really, really powerful, and this has something to do with like our powers. So I think that me and Maxine, Animal Man talking, me and Maxine have to go. Wife and Cliff. I'm forgetting her name for some reason. Ellen. Ellen and Cliff have to just stay home, lock themselves in. Animal Man's going to call one of his friends on the police to come in and check on them. So they are setting off on their trip to find the red, and all they have to do is follow the animals. Ellen doesn't like this plan at all because it's her child. Makes sense, but Buddy feels that he has to. Cut to the San Diego Zoo. Some dude thinks that the hippos are in labor, so he calls over another zookeeper, and they show the hippos, and I'll be first to admit, I don't know what hippo labor looks like, but if it looks anything like this, hippos should not be pregnant, because it is horrifying. And apparently the zookeeper thinks so as well, because one of them asks, "What do we do?" And he just says, "Run." Cut back to, they're on a cross-country trip, trying to find this old tree that's on the map. They're talking to animals. They talk to a tortoise who says to talk to a snake. They talk to a snake who says to talk to a mosquito. And the mosquito says, "Yeah, I know where the tree is." So, okay. And Animal Man is like questioning, "Well, I've always thought my powers were from aliens." And scientists who looked at me called it the morphogenetic field. I've always called it the life web, but maybe it is like an actual place. And so they get to the tree, and it's this crazy tree that's just floating in midair. And Maxine touches it and reacts to her touch. And Animal Man's like, "Okay, so how do we help it?" And he's like, "Oh, we got to go inside." And they touch the tree and go into this crazy double-page spread, just trippy as hell looking Dali nightmarescape. And I guess now they're in the red. Cut back to the zoo. The rot that we saw, the three demon-looking things that represent the rot that we saw at the end of the last issue, they were the ones inside the hippos, I guess, and they have devoured these zookeepers and have worn them like skin suits. And they're like, "All right, the Avatar's ready, powerful, we got to go and take care of this by using our skin suits." And that's where we're at. I still really like this book. I think I said that last time, but I really, really like this book. It's so dark in ways that you just don't even think about. Like, just like her just absentmindedly, just whatever. Oh, this is Mrs. Pickles, my cat, and it's just a skeleton. Like, just casually dark, and I love it. No, I'm really down with this. The art, I think, is actually slightly better than last time, because they do a lot of cross shading and hatching on Buddy, because it's supposed to represent like the tattoo, and they just didn't want to go into detail each time. So actually, it may be a little bit of laziness, but I really appreciate the more depth it gives instead of just a totally single shade cell shading it usually had. And again, just like all the trippy visuals, I'm down with all that. So overall, I'm giving this an 8. It really is fantastic. The only reason I'm bringing it down is the fact that we're still setting up. You know, they just got to the red. I feel like next issue is going to be the answers issue, where we learn what's going on, and that I think might even, if it keeps up the art, which I imagine they're going to be in the red the whole time, so it's just going to stay trippy. I imagine that's going to get higher. But this issue, I'm going to give an 8. Very well done, extremely high quality. I look forward to where Animal Man goes from here.